Hello and welcome to This Is iPads. They just killed
What did they kill? Matt.
one of their products.
What?
The 9th gen iPad.
No, you cannot leave with the 9th gen iPad. There's a brand new Apple event that just wrapped up this morning. A bunch of new stuff, including the new iPad Pros, an update to the iPad Air, surprise announcement of the Apple M4.
And zero to do with the Mini, the best iPad.
I, dear viewer, used my iPad Mini to make notes with the Apple Pencil, you know, as a reasonable human being. Matt over here is flexing your immense wealth and riches with all your iPads.
Do you want to take a guess at how many iPads I own? Six. It is 6.
Is it really?
I have 6 iPads.
Wow, rich
So-
boy over here. Well, time to go buy yourself a brand new iPad Pro. Why don't we quickly break down what they announced, and then we'll talk about our thoughts, because I have a lot of thoughts. First, and actually, I would, even though I was trolling with you earlier, kind of agree that the most important iPad here was actually the iPad 10th gen. Now, if you remember,
it really was.
this came out, I think, last year, and it was a all-screen, like, newer design that was meant to be sort of a replacement for the 9th gen, which has been sticking around forever. It's up to date, besides, like, the Apple Pencil being weird, but they slashed the price from $450 to $350. And I will say that if you're looking for an iPad, you should probably just buy the 10th gen now. Unless you're being a big iPad Pro boy like Matt over here, and you need OLED and M4 and everything, the iPad 10th gen, it's a solid device, and $350 is, I would argue, almost a little bit of a no-brainer. That's a really good deal.
It's a really good iPad for $350. First off, I want to dispute something real quick about me being like a rich iPad
You just
boy.
started this video by saying you own 6 iPads, one of which is exclusively for the toilet.
I do have one in the bathroom.
I told you. See, I knew it. You need to tell me that. I knew that was the answer. I just imagined that, yeah, you instead of light switches, you just put iPads there, and all they do is just a light switch button.
That is accurate. I've had this 2018 one. I've wanted to upgrade it, but I haven't been able to justify it.
Yeah.
Because let's run through what the new iPad Pro has.
Sure. iPad Pro is, quote, impossibly thin. So the 11-inch is 5.3 millimeters, and the 13 is 5.1. These are the thinnest iOS iPad devices that probably have ever shipped. Now, they were very specific to say that it is just as strong as the last one. Now, the second that Zach gets his hands on one of these things, it is gonna snap like a paper bag. I'm very excited to see that. They didn't specifically say it, but the bezels looked smaller. It was kind of hard to tell because they were mixing between the 11 and the 13. The webcam, much like on the iPad Air, has been moved to the side. They've also surprisingly removed a camera from the iPad Pro. They got rid of the ultra wide because that makes sense, because why would you need the ultra wide? Like, that was dumb to begin with. And instead, now it has an upgraded flash, which is designed for documents.
You're not at the concert just...
We have one camera for that. You just don't need 2 anymore.
Well, what if I want to take multiple angles?
We'll use this super cool new Final Cut camera feature to, like, record and live stream or whatever. And I also will say that I like the colors. That they got rid of space gray, which is not a color, and they replaced it with space black, which is a cool color.
It's the absence of color, by definition. It's a really good upgrade. It is. It is a really good spec bump. But that was never the problem with an iPad. I want to come back to why I have this 2018. I have never felt the need to upgrade this because up until recently, this started not doing the things that I wanted it to do. So the Pro apps that are available on iPad now only work with the with like an Apple Silicon one.
But if you want to do like the more pro stuff, which obviously if you want to, you need to get the Pro. You need the higher performance, the more RAM. Look, that's fair enough. But one of the things here that is a little bit interesting with this new iPad Pro is that it is using the M4. Now, if you remember, the Apple M3 just came out in what? September, October, something like that. So we're like maybe 6 months out. And it's interesting that they put it on the iPad Pro first. I'll give you the specs. So it is using a 2nd generation 3nm process. It actually has additional CPU cores as well, bigger GPU, and importantly, they really emphasize the neural processor, neural engine, whatever. It's an NPU, which is what everyone calls it.
Yeah.
So it is now up to, if I check my notes here,
16 cores,
38 TOPS. And if you're unfamiliar with TOPS, I would highly recommend to get acquainted with this metric. TOPS are really used for AI tasks. Now, right now on your device, it's limitedly used for like camera and like some smaller thing. You know, they show logic, which you could do like stem removal and stuff, but like that's all stuff that you can kind of do already. But the TOPS I think are gonna be much more important because the more TOPS you have, the larger AI models that you can run on device. So what you may find is that on these M4 iPads, I'm sure like Max and whatever they put it in, you'll be able to do, say, super smart Siri versus like dumb Siri or whatever. Like that extra performance will be helpful in speeding up tasks that are more AI related. Do we want to talk about the Air really quick? Because I feel like no one cares, but like it did see a 13-inch version, which is nice.
it is a massive price jump to go from the Air to the Pro.
I recently did a video talking about how complete disaster level the iPad lineup was. Thankfully, they've cleaned that up by getting rid of the 9th gen and sort of moving stuff around. It's now a clear progression. You know, you spend another couple $100, you're gonna get the next tier up. Like, that makes sense. The problem is that I still kind of argue for most people, $350 for that base iPad going up to $700, $1,000 plus. You're not getting that much more. You're getting a better screen and more performance. But like, is it really gonna be that much of a meaningful difference? And I don't think it is.
Yeah, like once you're getting to that point, an artist is like should get this. Yes, Procreate Dreams is massive with this.
You could do that on an existing iPad though.
But like once you're getting to these price points, it's like I feel like it just makes a lot more sense to just get like a MacBook Air. They have a new keyboard which looks fantastic. It basically just turns your iPad Pro into a MacBook Air. They basically said it was a much more MacBook style experience. It's good, but like again, it just that adds up quickly. And then we also have the new pencil. Can I show you a graph?
Oh God.
So here are the list of the existing Apple Pencil, and all of them have different functionalities.
Oh my God, that's too many things, Matt. That's too many things.
The stuff they showed off with the Pencil, Pencil Pro, was nice because they had a gyroscope in there so you can rotate your brush sizes, but they also had a squeeze function to bring up menus. But like, I'm curious to see how that's going to work in practice, because like if I'm drawing and I'm trying to do like a fine line, I tend to squeeze harder,
firmly
like,
grasp
yeah.
it. Well, I would kind of expect that you probably learn after a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're not going to like pinch it too hard. Like, look, the pencil is actually a little bit more of a precise input method for typing, for sort of like swiping and stuff. Like, but the real star of the show here is the brand new iPad Pro, which is way thinner. It's 1,000 nit OLED or 1,600 nit. So it's basically the same spec as the XDR displays. I am actually excited to try these displays because I'm sure they're going to be very nice. And importantly, it's the same on both the 11 and the 13. Because on the Pros, you used to be able to get the nice, super cool mini LED display on the 13, but the 11 had the older display. So now it's going to be the same across the board. On top of that, Apple M4 chip with a decent bump to performance. And then there's some other stuff. They announced updates to both Final Cut as well as Logic. They called it Final Cut 2. We went from 7 to 10 to 10 years later, we went to 2. It's nice to see them paying attention to Final Cut though.
Yes.
Hey, edit team, surprise announcement. We're taking all the MacBooks and we're throwing them in the garbage.
Yep.
Everyone's getting iPads.
You're getting iPads.
We're all on Final Cut 2, yay! Oh God, wait, Matt, I just realized. These are on the store now. I'm gonna try to build an iPad to see how expensive I can get it.
So I spec'd out the one I would get personally.
Oh wait, no, don't spoil me. I really want to
Yeah.
go through this myself. So we're gonna start out with the 11 or the 13. So the 13 starts at $1,300. Silver, because of course I want
Gross.
silver. $1,300 for $256, but I can go all the way up to 2 terabyte for $2,300.
Yep.
So in addition to the standard glass, you've also got the nano texture as an option, but it only is available on the 1 or 2 terabyte. So that brings it up to $2,400. And obviously, if I'm spending this much money, I want cellular, so that's gonna be another $200. So at $2,600. Oh, you know what? I want an Apple Pencil. Can you give me a Apple Pencil Pro? Yes, please. And then we're also gonna want a keyboard, because obviously I need a keyboard, bringing me to a total of $3,077.
Yeah. Yeah. The engraving sounds like a steal at that price.
Well, it's okay. I'll finance it on my Apple Card for the same price as a car payment.
So it's more expensive
It's
than
10 times more than the 10th gen.
Yeah.
So I'm actually gonna really quickly build the actual iPad that I would get. I would get an 11-inch Pro.
Same.
Just with cellular and silver, and one with the keyboard, which is a still very expensive $1,500. But that's a way more reasonable build than the $3,000 plus if you max the whole thing out.
I'm personally fine with low storage on my iPad. I have a lot of cloud storage between different things. I don't have any of my own music on the device between streaming services, and then if I'm getting cellular, $1,200 is still a lot. And then again, that's not including like the keyboard and whatnot.
You need the keyboard. Like, look,
It's-
if you're buying an iPad Pro, you should buy the keyboard. It's almost as bad as with like the Surface, right? Where it's like, no one's gonna buy a Surface without the keyboard. If you're buying an iPad Pro and you don't buy the keyboard, I just question what you're doing.
Here's the biggest question out of all of this, which, all right, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because WWDC is a month-ish away.
Yeah.
They talked almost zero about software, almost zero about iPadOS. Realistically, like hardware is great, whatever, cool.
Yeah.
But again, it's been great for a long time. I guarantee that like if I gave you this iPad versus the one that comes out that just came out, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in most cases.
And I would also argue that the 10th gen iPad, $350, is going to give you 90% the same experience for 1/10 the price of the maxed out iPad Pro.
It feels weird to like have this event.
Yeah.
And not just like include this with WWDC, because you know they're going to talk about AI stuff at the conference. Of
course.
It's just it feels like a very weird timing.
It is weird. This is not advice to anyone who's watching this. Obviously, you make your decisions. Buy a 10th gen iPad, or I don't know, go enjoy a lollipop or something. But Matt, are you buying any of the new iPads?
As of today, no.
So Matt, I gotta be real with you. I'm struggling a little bit because I've always been drawn in by the idea of the iPad and, using it. The iPad's nice when it works, but it's terrible when it doesn't work. There's so often I'm just wrestling with the iPad when I'm trying to use it like a laptop and it's not doing the things that I could do on a Windows device or a Mac or something. I'm really tempted to pick up an M4 iPad, to do a video on it, to try to use it for, a week or two and see. But the thing is, I know in my head that until we see significant software updates, which is likely going to come, a few weeks after, it's not going to do it for me. I'm torn. I don't know if I should get one and try it, or maybe wait till WWDC and see if they can convince me. Like, I really don't know, man.
Here's someone who loves his iPads.
We can see.
Yeah. Let me put it in a different argument for you.
Go ahead.
I can't believe I'm going to be the Windows fanboy on this one. How long have I been wrestling with whether I should get a Zephyrus G14?
You've been talking about it for like 4 months. No, you bought one, and then your credit card company denied you.
I did. I bought one, and my credit card's like, you know what? This seems like fraud. I can't imagine him buying a Windows computer. But look at the value proposition for that.
Yeah, you don't need another iPad. Just buy the G14.
It's way easier to be like, I'm gonna buy this iPad when it's $350. Like,
yes, I agree. Honestly,
and
the 10th gen is the move. Now, if you're a big old rich boy like Matt and you want to add another iPad to your fleet, then the iPad Pro, there's no questioning that this thing looks dope, right? Probably the most encouraging part of this whole thing is that this is the first time we've seen the iPad come out with the tech first, pretty much ever. You know that when they're on stage at WWDC, when they show off all the most cutting edge AI features, it's gonna be running on the iPad with the M4 because that's the only device that has M4, right? Like, it's nice to see that Apple are really putting the iPad first after over a year of pretty much no updates. In fact, almost a year and a half of no update. But the question here is, do you believe in the vision? I want to believe. I've wanted to love the iPad forever because I see glimpses. But then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But this little iPad, the mini, which is more constrained, but I think a better experience, and I could just use the pencil and everything like that. Like, I think this is what I'm going to stick with. I think.
Where this is really cool and where this has some really interesting implications in the future, it's about as thin as a MacBook Pro screen right now.
There's no way the screen on a MacBook is 5 millimeters thick. No shot.
I said slightly.
It's like twice as thick.
Okay, that's still pretty thin, okay?
You know what? You're just used to a couple extra millimeters making a big difference, Matt.
Some would say that's too much.
Well, some would say that you should subscribe to the channel and ring-a-ling the ding-ling button for lots more exciting iPad news, like, will Matt buy the iPad? Will Austin buy the iPad? Will we clickbait you with a video about how jerry-rig everything, snapped an iPad in half in 2 weeks? Make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, you'll miss out on such high-quality content, such as two nerds talking about whether they should give Timmy Cook a whole pile of money for a flashy new tablet.
I did like new Tim.